Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss materials, metals and non-metals. This is chapter 4 of subject science class 8. This is your lecture 5 and in the end we are also going to discuss homework solutions of lecture 4. So let's start. Topics to be discussed today will be reactivity series, displacement reactions. Now, what is reactivity series? So you can see that there is a chart given in front of you. Starting with potassium, that stands for K, then sodium, that stands for Na, then lithium, that stands for Li, then calcium, that stands for Ca, magnesium, that stands for Mg, aluminium, that stands for Al, zinc, that stands for Zn, iron, that stands for Fe, lead, that stands for Pb. Hydrogen is a non-metal which is given here. Okay. Then copper, Cu. Then silver, Ag. Then gold, Au. And then the platinum at the last. So this is the chart of reactivity series, and you can see by an arrow that the most reactive metal is potassium and the least reactive metal is platinum. These all are the brackets. In the brackets, these are the chemical symbols of these metals. Now, what is the short form of learning the reactivity series? Please send lions, cats, monkeys and zebras into lovely hot countries. Signed, Journal Penguin. And the hydrogen, which is the non-metal in between, is for that the metals below hydrogen, that is copper, silver, gold and platinum, are less reactive than hydrogen, and above hydrogen are more reactive than hydrogen. Okay, so this is the reactivity series of metal, and from this reactivity series we can find out many things. Like we can say what are displacement reactions, etc. Okay, so we are going to learn in detail the reactivity series of metal. The reactivity series of metals, also known as activity series. So the reactivity series of metal, which I have explained you just now, has another name also known as activity series, refers to the arrangement of metals in the descending order of their reactivities. So this is an arrangement of metals in which the metals have a arrangement in descending order of their reactivities. For example, potassium is the most reactive metal, and at the last, platinum is the least reactive metal. Fine. The data provided by the reactivity series can be used to predict whether a metal can displace another metal in a single displacement reaction. Okay, so data provided by reactivity series can be used to predict this also, that a metal can displace the other metal in a single displacement reaction. We will study about displacement reaction further now after this. And in this, what happened? The metal which is less reactive will be displaced by the metal which is more reactive. So which one is more reactive and which one is less reactive, that you can easily predict from where? From reactivity series. It can also be used to obtain information on the reactivity of metals towards water and acids. So you can also see the reactivity of metals with acids and water. Now, what are the important uses of reactivity series? Apart from providing insight into the properties and reactivities of metals, the reactivity series has several other important applications. Okay, apart from providing that properties of reactivities of the metal, that which one is more reactive than which one, it also tells several important applications. For example, the outcome of the reactions between metals and acids, and single displacement reactions between metals can be predicted with the help of the reactivity series. Now we will talk about displacement reaction. So this is the fifth part of the chemical reaction. Okay, we have done all the parts, above parts in the previous lecture. Today we are going to discuss the displacement reaction also. During reaction, if a metal replaces another metal from its compound, then such reactions are called displacement reactions. Those reactions in which one metal displaces the another metal from its compound. Okay, so the one metal is going to displace the another metal from its compound, and such reactions are called displacement reactions. Understood? Metals can actually be arranged as per their reactivity order. Thus, a more reactive metal will always displace a less reactive metal from its compound, but a less reactive one cannot displace a more reactive metals. So, metals are actually arranged as per their reactivity order, as we have studied, right? Thus, a more reactive metal will always displace a less reactive metal from its compound. But a less reactive metal will never be able to displace the more reactive metal from its compound. For example, when zinc is reacted with copper sulfate solution, then copper will be displaced by zinc, as zinc is more reactive than copper. Okay. The blue color of copper sulfate disappears and a powdery red mass of copper is deposited at the bottom of the beaker. The reaction will be copper sulfate, the chemical formula CuSO4 plus zinc, that stands for Zn, will give zinc sulfate, that is ZnSO4 plus copper. Okay. So this copper is going to be separated, and instead of copper, zinc is going to replace copper from copper sulfate and will become zinc sulfate. As zinc is more reactive than copper, and it comes above copper in the reactivity series of metal which we have just studied. Okay. Next part, this is a diagram from your NCERT book. Okay, in this activity, we will be doing this activity as soon as school will get open. Okay, in the lab also, and this activity is easy to understand also. I am going to explain what we have done. So we have taken 5 beaker, namely A, B, C, D and E. Okay, what we have done in A part, you can see there is A and B part, and it's showing displacement reaction. This mean before and after. So first we have taken the beakers of A, B, C, D in the A part. In the beaker A, we have taken copper sulfate solution, that is CuSO4. It's a blue color solution. And we have kept zinc granules in it, that is Zn. Okay. In the B beaker, we have taken copper sulfate, that is again CuSO4, plus iron, that is Fe, iron nail. Fine. In the C beaker, we have taken zinc sulfate solution, and we have kept copper turnings in that is Cu. In beaker D, we have kept iron sulfate solution, that is FeSO4, plus copper turnings, that is Cu. And in the last beaker, we have kept zinc sulfate, ZnSO4, plus iron nail, that is Fe. So after an hour, what we will observe that the first beaker in which we have kept CuSO4 plus Zn granules, okay, it will happen that which we have studied just now, the solution will be start becoming clear and there will be a red mass of zinc. Fine. So what will be the reaction? This is the displacement reaction. Copper sulfate plus zinc will give ZnSO4, that is zinc sulfate, and copper will get separate. In the other part, it is copper sulfate plus iron. So iron is also more reactive than copper. So iron will displace copper from its solution and will make FeSO4, that is ferric sulfate, and copper will be separated. Fine. So it will be a green color this thing. Green color solution. Fine. In the C, D and E part, there will be no change. Why? Because in C part we have kept zinc sulfate, that is and plus copper tunings. So this copper tunings will not going to affect zinc sulfate because zinc is less reactive than copper. Sorry, copper is less reactive than zinc. In D part also, copper is less reactive than iron, nothing will happen, no change. And in beaker E also, iron is less reactive than zinc, so nothing will happen in this beaker as well. So these are displacement reactions. Now you can see one more example of single displacement reaction which we have studied just now, but I am going to show you this one with another diagram. So you can see there is a measuring cylinder in which there is a solution of CuSO4, stands for copper sulfate, and we have kept an iron nail. So what is happening, after some time we are able to observe that instead of CuSO4, the solution is becoming green. Instead of blue, it is becoming green and it is becoming FeSO4. Okay, so Fe is what? It is displacing copper from its salt solution and making FeSO4, and copper will be getting separated. So this is single displacement reaction. Fine. So the reaction in which a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element from its solution is known as a displacement reaction. And we have talked about single displacement reaction with the example of copper sulfate plus zinc will give zinc sulfate plus copper. Similarly, these are in the form of ABC. That single displacement reaction will be like A plus BC will give AC plus B. Okay, and double displacement reaction will be like AB plus CD will give AD plus CB. So these are single displacement and double displacement reaction. We have already talked about single displacement. Okay, and we have already have an example also. We will talk about double displacement and one example also. And here with the form of a cartoon they have given the explanation of single displacement and double displacement reaction. I found it very useful and quite a bit easy learning thing. So this I am sharing with you, that is you can see in single displacement reaction there is a couple and there is a boy. Okay, and you can see there is a different boy. So if there is a couple, then there is a different boy. In the single displacement reaction you can see that the boy which was with the couple before has been displaced to the and left by other. Okay, and the one who was single has been came with this girl. So similarly you can take example, this boy and girl in the first single displacement reaction is CuSO4. Okay, and this single one is Zn. So now it has become ZnSO4 and the single one is copper, that is Cu. Then there is an example of double displacement reaction. So there is two couples, and in the first one the second couple girl is going to get mixed with the first couple boy, and in the second one the first couple girl is going to mix with the second couple boy, or you can say uncle. Okay, so this is double displacement reaction. Now we will see the example of double displacement reaction in chemical terms. So it is example of double displacement reaction. BaCl2, that is barium chloride, is going to be combined with Na2SO4. Okay, and will be forming barium sulfate, that is BaSO4, and 2 NaCl, that is sodium chloride. So this is a double displacement reaction. Okay, BaCl2 plus Na2SO4 will give BaSO4 plus 2 NaCl. So BaCl2 is getting combined with SO4 and forming BuSO4, and Na is getting combined with Cl and forming 2 NaCl. So both of them is getting intermixed. So this is known as double displacement reaction. Fine. Next, what is the homework for today? For today, you need to do these questions, fill in the blanks. First one is, phosphorus is a very dash non-metal. Second is, metals are dash conductors of heat and dash. Okay. Next is, iron is dash reactive than copper. You need to tell iron is dash reactive than copper. Next is, metal react with acids to produce dash gas. So metal is going to react with acid to produce dash gas. Next is question number 6. Copper, C part and D part you need to do. Copper cannot displace zinc from its salt solution. Next is, sodium and potassium are stored in kerosene. So you can write about sodium and potassium. I have given it before also. And from today's lecture also it has been clear that potassium is the first metal in the reactivity series. So you can write accordingly. Fine. Next. Question number 9. What happens when dilute sulfuric acid is poured on a copper plate? Next. Iron nails are displaced in copper sulfate solution. Write word equation of the reactions involved. So you need to tell these 2 points also. Next question is, Saloni took a piece of burning charcoal and collected the gas evolved in a test tube. Okay. How will she find the nature of the gas? Next part is, write down the word equation of all the reaction taking place in this process. So you need to explain this. Now we are going to discuss homework solutions of lecture 4. Question number 4 I gave you. Mark T if the statement is true and mark F if it is false. Generally, non-metals react with acid. So answer is, generally non-metal react with acid is a false statement. Okay, non-metals do not have much reaction with the acids. Next question was, sodium is a very reactive metal. So today you have studied about the reactivity series. So you can see that sodium is a reactive metal. Okay, and that's why sodium and potassium are kept in kerosene oil. So the answer is true. C part, copper displaces zinc from zinc sulfate solution. Copper displaces zinc from zinc sulfate solution. This statement is false. Okay, because copper is less reactive than zinc and we have studied it today. Okay, and you know the reactivity series also. So this can be false. Now next is, coal can be drawn into wires. Now I guess you know what is coal. Coal is a metal or non-metal? It's a non-metal, right? So coal can be drawn into wires? No. The answer is no, because it is false. And coal is a non-metal. Non-metal are hard, okay, but they are not ductile. Okay, if you will start hammering the coal, what will happen? It will break down and will become a powder. So coal cannot be drawn into wires. The statement is false. Next question. Can you store lemon pickle in an aluminium utensil? Explain. No, we cannot store the lemon pickle in an aluminium utensil. First of all, the answer is no. We cannot store a lemon pickle in an aluminium utensil. Okay. As lemon is an organic acid. See, everyone knows this. Lemon is a citric fruit, right? And it is having an acid. So it's an organic acid because it's a fruit and the acid is coming from the lemon. So it's an organic acid that contains citric acid. Citric acid is the acid present in citrus fruits. Okay. And aluminium is a highly reactive metal. Aluminium is a highly reactive metal as well. Okay. When it reacts with lemon, that is citric acid, it easily displaces hydrogen and hydrogen gas. Okay, so when it going to react uh, with the citric acid, what will happen? Hydrogen will be displaces and hydrogen gas is evolved and forms a salt substance. It will also form a salt substance of aluminium that is toxic in nature and becomes poisonous. So that particular thing is toxic in nature and it becomes poisonous as well. Okay. Mostly we see that the glass jar and the china dish jars are used. So mostly what we see in at our homes, we all must have observed this, that whenever we are having a pickle at our home, it is not kept in aluminium foil or aluminium utensil. It is always kept in a glass jar. Okay, or it is kept in a china dish. Hindi mein we call it vartaman. Okay, so in that we are keeping the pickles, and even our mothers knows that the aluminium is not good for keeping the pickles. Okay. To store the pickle as a glass jar and china dish are non-reactive, because this china dish and glass jar will never be going to react with the pickle with an acid, that is with an acid, and pickle don't get toxic in nature. So pickle is not going to get toxic in nature. It is safe to store the pickles in glass jar and china dish. So here we can say that we are not going to store the pickles in aluminium foil or aluminium utensils. Okay, we can store them in china dish and glass jars. Fine. So that's all for today. Thank you.